Mike, turn your games down.
Hi, with another top 10 episode of Games My Mom Found. I am Mike Albertin, who is exploring random castles with me tonight.
It's the president of the Koji Igarashi fan club, Kuruseta, Kerry Chandler. I'm Kuruseta on Twitch and YouTube and all the other places.
And Michael Colby from This Bizarre Adventure and Jack Billings Presents Haunted Apartment Complex.
And welcome. So I was scrolling on Discord. Apparently, I had decided this episode in March of 2023, and it is now the end of August 2023, and I'm finally doing it. That's the way of my world, apparently.
I think we bullied you into it during the Shadow Complex episode.
Yeah,
I
think so too. Pretty sure that's what did it. But we are here to talk about top 10 Metroidvanias. Doesn't mean they're the best. It just means, well, in some of the cases, there will be the best, depending on what our number. But it's also our favorites, just games that we liked, and that's why they're here. So we're just gonna kind of go around and just start from 10 and work our way down. So I have realized when I was making the list, I have not played enough Metroidvanias in my life at all. 100% have not played enough.
And so I was going to say, before we were talking, Colby and I play tons of Metroidvanias.
Yep.
So we ended up making 3 different top 10 lists, and I was saying we could pick. I would say, do you want to do our top 10 overall for the actual thing, and at the end we could just run through? And these are my top 10. Bam, 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 bam.
Yeah,
of our
at the end
lists.
we'll do honorable mentions. Name all
right, cool. We'll do that. Sounds good.
Okay.
Because I want to hear all 3 of Colby's lists. So
I do too, because I need more games to put on my Steam wish.
Hold on, I got to open the ceremonial podcasting beer. We're ready to roll.
I'm gonna get my my top 5 list of just Castlevanias and Metroids. So
okay.
Let me go last here.
Well, I will just read to 10 first. Read my number 10, then we just kind of go from there.
Yes, we'll all do 10, I'll do 9, I'll do 8. Sounds good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, and then my first one is a game that I played for the show a long time ago with Aliens Infestation for Nintendo DS.
Oh, yeah.
That came out in 2011. I mean, it doesn't have the leveling stuff up that I've liked, but it's a very unique game, I felt, when I played it at the time. And it's also a game set in the Alien universe, something you don't get a lot of. At least not good games either. But so yeah, no leveling, but it was a really fun game that stuck with me. And the way that you get other players is, I guess you rescue people who are being caught by the aliens and they become your other players. But if they die, they're dead. I guess it's been a while since I played it. It was on the show, but yeah, that's my number 10.
Yeah, I've never seen that. I've heard of it, but I've never seen that.
It's okay. I played it with save states. I don't know how it would be to play it legit, but it's a cool Metroidvania.
All right, so we're counting down from 10. So I'm next. Okay, my number 10 is going to cause controversy in the Discord. My number 10 is, but it shouldn't. My number 10 is Metroid Prime, which I think Metroidvanias can be 3D. There's not very many, but they exist. We got out the platforming, we got the backtracking, we got the ability gate locking. You know, we've got the abilities at the beginning where you start with everything and then lose it. I love Metroid Prime. I got Metroid Prime. So I got a GameCube at launch. Not at launch. I got it a couple of months after launch when I was in college when it came out. And for the first year that I had a GameCube, all I had pretty much was Smash Brothers Melee and Tony Hawk 4. And then Metroid Prime came out, and that became my third GameCube game and I played the hell out of it. But I didn't get very far in it because I wasn't completely Metroidvania pilled back then the way I am now. So I came back to it many years later, like 2018, and instead I emulated the Wii version on PC with mouse and keyboard controls, and I played it like that. And I played through most of it that way. I liked it a lot. And then I came back to it again just last year and played it that same setup, only with an Xbox controller. And that game sings. It feels like a brand new game that was made this year on an Xbox controller. And I'm sure the Switch remake feels similarly. So I love Metroid Prime. The storytelling, environmental storytelling, it's so beautiful. It looks beautiful now. Like, it's a 2002 video game. It looks beautiful in 2023 to me, with the proper, setup and everything. And just, it's great. I love it. And that design, that, various suit design in there is one of my favorite designs of any of the suits.
It's damn cool.
Yeah. The gravity suit looks awesome in it. Just everything. It looks so cool. So that's me, and it's fun and it's easy. As Metroidvanias go, I think it's probably the easiest Metroid game because it's 3D, so they really like dumb down the combat a lot. And some of the puzzles are a little annoying though, but
yeah, and it was also built for that terrible GameCube controller. So if you play it with a real controller, it's like, yeah, you can just breeze through that thing.
Yeah, and I want to be clear. I think that the Wii version, but with the modifications of not using a Wiimote, is the best way to play it, because, and probably the remake is that way too, because the original doesn't really have twin stick aiming and all that, so you have to like hold down buttons to aim and stuff.
Yeah,
and being able to just use it, like play it like a twin stick shooter, makes it way better. So I put that caveat that the version that I like is modded, but I think the remake for the Switch is basically the same control scheme as the modded version. I'm pretty certain. In fact, I know you can switch to that. I'm pretty certain, like 99% sure. So
yeah, if it wasn't $40 for the one game, I would recommend that.
Yeah.
Hey, look at
I think it's also widescreen. The remaster, I'm pretty sure the Wii version is widescreen also.
I was bummed that it was only $40 for the. I mean, like when they told me it was just the one, I'm like, had you been all three, you would have sold me at 60. But for
I probably would have rebought it.
I said the same thing. If it would have been 60 for the 3, sign me up. I'll have 2. But $40 for one, not worth it.
And I kept calling it a remake. It's a remaster with a few new features. But
yeah,
I think
none of the primes are good enough to pay $40 for now.
I mean, I think they are if you don't have them, is the thing. If you don't have it, then yeah, go for it, right? But it's like I own the GameCube version and I own the Wii version. I bought the Wii version for $9 at GameStop when it was old enough to be $9, but not old enough to be like $150, whatever it is now, because it is it is super, and I've still got it. I got it in a drawer in there, in right behind me. But I bought it for $9 at GameStop, and then never played it. Never played the Wii version on my Wii. Actually, well, I have like once. But all right. Anyway, I know I talked a lot. I'm sorry, but Metroid Prime is my number 10.
And Colby.
All right, my number 10 is actually pretty new. It's Carrion.
Oh yeah, Carrion is so good.
Man, there is something magical about that game. It's like it could have gone terribly, but instead it's like a perfect. It's so much fun, and like it's just challenging enough so that it's not like you're blowing through it, but it also gives you that sense of power of being like a big like mutated creature thing. It also has it has wonderful endings. It's just like, if you're looking for something that's just fun and you want to play in maybe 2 or 3 sittings, man, you can't beat Carrion. I think Carrion is fucking spectacular. Top notch so good. Metroidvania.
And I own it too, apparently.
It's so good.
What's his name? Cronenberg involved in making it too in some way? I think he was.
I have no idea. But
it's crazy because like a year and a half before Carrion was announced, I had this idea for making a Metroidvania where you're a little blob of cells that crawls around and eats people and gains abilities. And I wrote this like 4-page game like design document of these are what the powers were like. I started designing the levels and stuff. And then Carrion was announced. I was like, son of a bitch. Like, I mean, I don't know what to say. We just had the same exact, parallel idea.
Yeah, that happens.
I see it's only like 4 hours to beat. Okay.
That, I don't know how that, I played it for like 8 hours and didn't beat it. So I don't know. But
oh, yeah, I think it took me 6, but I'm also one of those that my first playthrough, I'm like exploring every corner of every map that I get into.
Yeah, same. Maybe I didn't play 8 hours. I don't remember.
I don't know if you guys can believe that, but I don't do that.
It was on Game Pass, but they took it off.
Yes, it was on Game Pass. That's where I played it the first time, and then I ended up buying it because I liked it so much.
Nice.
Okay, and that brings me to number 9. My number 9, I'm assuming neither of you have played. It is Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions.
Oh, I have that.
DS.
I have that. Yeah, I played it.
Oh yeah, I forgot you have played that.
Yeah.
That's a game that I didn't even know existed and is barely on YouTube, but it's a Metroidvania where you run through a city and fight bosses and get different Spider-Men, just like the the 360 game. And it's a lot of fun. It's a really good Metroidvania. I mean, there's no RPG element again, which to me hurts it. But I had a great time. Maybe there's some. I can't remember. I haven't played it in a year, but I remember really, really enjoying it. I beat it in one day on Christmas Eve. I played it all day and beat it.
Yeah, you know what? I played the PSP version is what I played. And I don't know if that's the same or not. I didn't play very much of it. I played like maybe 30 minutes of it.
I didn't even know that was a thing. I didn't like the 360 version, so I wouldn't have even given a DS version or a PSP version a second look. But now that I know that it's like a different thing, it's like a good Metroidvania.
It's a straight up Metroidvania that I actually almost went for 100% when I was playing it.
That rules.
I've got it on that R4 card of mine. I need to check it out and see if it's different from the PSP one. The PSP
I can't even find the PSP one while I'm Googling.
Oh, maybe I was thinking of... No, I'm sure it was Shattered Dimensions. Well, maybe I'm thinking... No, I'm thinking of Web of...
You get Spider-Man 2099, Noir. I mean, they can only be used in certain areas. Like, each area is kind of broken up of this map where you can play as each character. But, no, it's a really good game. I mean, it's something that most people don't even know it exists.
Yeah, I didn't know it existed, and I'm a Metroidvania guy. So that's quite hidden. That's quite a hidden gem.
I think I 100%ed it too, which is not, I mean, anyone listening to the show, that's not me. So
I want to correct myself. I was thinking of Web of Shadows. That's the PSP one I played. And I was like, oh man, that didn't seem like a Metroidvania, but I only played it like 30 minutes because that sucked.
Web of Shadows, the 360 Web of Shadows is my favorite Spider-Man game.
Good game.
Yeah, so the PSP one is like Maximum Carnage for the Super Nintendo. It's similar gameplay to that. I felt like, at least what I played of it anyway. Yeah, and it was like zoomed out really far, and I was just like, I don't like this.
The only bad thing about this game is it has a stupid touchscreen gimmick when you go through portals where you have to like tap Mysterio hands to stop them from grabbing you. I mean, I did it with a mouse and I was fine, but it is stupid. It's of that era.
Yeah.
I know. But the game is worth it anyway. It's especially if you have a hacked 3DS or like have a card to put all your DS games on, be perfect for that. Hey, you can not feel bad because this game will never be re-released. So hey.
Oh yeah, definitely not. Yeah, I'm gonna check that out as soon as I finish the game I'm currently playing on my DS. I'll check that out.
It's fun. I beat it. I mean, it was a Christmas Eve. I remember that. I was sitting there and I just played through the entire game at like 5 hours off and on.
Nice. I love another 5-hour Metroidvania.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's prime amount of time for a Metroidvania.
And Kerry, what about you?
Well, speaking of stupid touchscreen gimmicks, my number 9 is Castlevania Dawn of Sorrow, which listeners by now could have heard the episode on. I adore that game. I think it's awesome. What puts it low down on my list is the touchscreen gimmicks, which you can mod out of it very easily. So definitely suggest don't buy it because they're not selling anymore. Download it for free. Download a patched ROM that doesn't require you to draw on the screen. It's a great game. It's basically Aria of Sorrow, but more. It's a little too easy, and it's
unless you play it like me.
Yeah, unless you play on hard mode like Michael. But it's a little too easy, maybe. It's a little too long at the same time, maybe. And but other than that, I really have no complaints about it. It's a great game. And then once you beat it, you've got Julius mode, which is probably my second favorite classic Vania game after Rondo of Blood. And it's and then it's fun with randomizers too. It's a hard. There's so much stuff going on in it that makes it a very hard randomizer to play. So I'm a big fan. Castlevania Dawn of Sorrow.
Yep. You'll see that one on my top 10 Castlevanias and Metroids, but not on this one.
Yeah.
Colby, what is your number 8? Number 9? Nine.
Yeah. Okay. My number 9 is Bloodstained Ritual of the Night.
That low? Ooh.
Yeah.
That's on my list, but way higher.
Mine too.
See, my thing is I'm more of a Metroid guy. So it sort of gets bumped down for being so Castlevania. It's Igarashi, right? I'm saying that right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
Koji Igarashi.
Yeah. Like his Kickstarter, which I kickstarted, and then that was at the same time that terrible Mega Man
Mighty Number 9.
Mighty Number 9.
That came out
more like it.
that came out before Ritual or before Bloodstained, and I was like, oh no.
Yeah,
Is Bloodstained gonna be like this? But it wasn't. It's a great Castlevania game. Fantastic protagonist. Maybe too many skills that you have to with projectiles and magic and swords and but it never feels like overwhelming. It felt like maybe a little bit too much thrown at the wall, but never more than you can handle. But it's a fantastic game. My number 9 Metroidvania, and yeah, it's just right where you want it. As far as it beat out most Castlevania games, honestly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I that's such a good game, and yeah, it's got really cool stuff. Little Easter eggs, like the voice actor for Zangetsu in it is the voice actor of Alucard in Symphony of the Night.
Yep.
I didn't know David Hayter did both.
Oh, is it David? Oh, I'm sorry. Am I getting?
No, you're right. No, Zangetsu
it's not David Hayter.
Yes.
Ganzeku's David Hayter. Oh, then who am I thinking of? I thought Alucard's voice actor is in it.
I think he plays the librarian.
Oh, that's it. Yes, he's the librarian. Yes, You're right. He's the librarian. You're right. Zangetsu is David Hayter.
Yes.
Zangetsu.
And they also have a really cool hidden fight against like Sypha and Trevor and Grant.
Grant, yep. Grant Dynasty.
Yep. Sort of like hidden underneath the castle. And when I found that, I was like, this rules.
It's such a good callback. I love it. It's and you said it was a Kickstarter, and it had so many stretch goals, and it just kept hitting the stretch goals. So they just added more and more stuff to it. And of course, I didn't kickstart it. I came to it. I played it for free on Game Pass, 100%ed it, played through it again and again, and then bought it on PC, then bought it on PS5 just so I could play it on my PS5.
Yeah.
I think maybe I got it for free on PS5, come to think of it. But
it is on PlayStation Plus Extra.
It is. Okay, that's why I have it. Yeah, and I played it on there. Played Aurora. It's got all these extra modes. It's got Aurora mode. It's got a built-in randomizer. It's got a boss rush. The Aurora mode playing is Aurora from Child of Light.
It has a mode where you play as what's her name? Bloody Mary, whatever.
Yes, the blood.
I can't remember her
vampire
name
woman. Yeah, she's
so
basically
freaking cool. That mode is, I think, my favorite of all the extra
really cool.
modes.
Zangetsu mode is really cool.
Yep,
it's like Richter. Yeah,
it's all good. And those 8-bit style games that came out are also both fantastic.
Yeah, Curse of the Moon too.
Yeah.
Curse of the Moon was one of the stretch goals, and that's a great classic Vania. That's probably right.
I need to play it one day.
If that counted as a Castlevania game, it'd be like my third favorite non-Metroidvania Castlevania game. For sure. Or maybe my second. Actually, it'd probably be my second favorite. Yeah, it's really good.
That'll bring us to number 8. My number 8, which people are you're going to be surprised is this low, is Super Metroid. What? I don't like Super Metroid as much as other games. I played it a couple times for this show, played it twice for the show. I still enjoy it, but it is not my favorite. It's not even my favorite Metroid game, by the way.
No, not mine either.
What? So it's my number 8. I mean, it's a good game. It's an amazing game. It's a great game. It just wasn't. It's not. Yeah. I don't know. I also like my Vanias. I like my Metrovanias more when I can level up, and again, I can't. But it's so that's why all these.
You like more Iga, less Metroid?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. That's why these are all kind of at the bottom. Okay. If you notice, also the comment they don't have. I like being a level up because I get lost a lot, and at least if I get lost, I'll kill things and then I'll level up, so I'll feel like I accomplished something. Versus Super Metroid, where I literally had to watch a video at one point to figure out what to do. So I never forgave it, I guess.
I understand. I think the first time I ever played Super Metroid, I was about 10 years old, and I played it at a Super Nintendo kiosk at the Target in the next town over, because the wealthier town nearby us had a Target when I was a kid. And so I played Super Metroid there. I thought it was a lot of fun, played about 10 minutes. But then when I played it again for real, when I bought it in high school, I got stuck at when you have to run, because the game never tells you how to run. You just have to pause. You have to pause the game. Either you have to happen to be holding down the button and moving at the same time to figure it out, or you have to press pause and then press the R button and then see that you have a run ability and that it's mapped to the B button or whatever it's mapped to. I think it's the B button.
Yeah, no, I didn't like that either. I'm pretty sure that happened to me too.
Yeah, and I got stuck there, and I didn't get to come back until years later, like as an adult. But
I didn't beat it till the first episode of this podcast.
Yeah,
almost 5 years ago.
Episode 1.
Terrible episode. But
the first game your mom found.
Yes. And Kerry, what is your number 8?
All right, so number 8. So I said Guacamelee, and I put 1 and 2 because I didn't want to. Because if I put Guacamelee 1 and then Guacamelee 2, then that'd be 2 spots on the list for for 2 games that are of a franchise, but they're like very much their own thing. Like they're this kind of the same idea. Just continued. So yeah, Guacamelee 1 and 2. I love the Guacamelee. I love Guacamelee. I love the story of it. I love the culture. I am Mexican, but I wasn't raised in Mexican culture, so kind of like as an adult, been kind of learning more about it. And I love like the celebration of Mexican culture in it. It's over the top and fun, luchador stuff. It's unique. I've never played a Metroidvania where your weapons are your fist and your elbows and your knees and your feet, like that.
Mm-hmm.
And even like the unlocks, instead of like a, to break blocks that are above you, you have to learn like a flying uppercut, like a Shoryuken thing. And you have like a shoulder slam to break through other blocks. And then later when you can turn into a chicken, which I don't remember if that was in both of them or just in 1 and 2. And then you've got the thing where you're flashing back and forth between light world, like the world of the living, the world of the dead.
Yep.
Very, very light world, dark world. And, a game that didn't make it on my overall list, Ender Lilies, or not Ender Lilies, Record of Lodoss War, Delit and Wonder Labyrinth has that same mechanic of flipping between colors to go to different, to be able to pass through different barriers and stuff. And I'm, kind of the Ikaruga, Radiant Silvergun thing,
Mm-hmm.
I love that in games, like having to quickly flip between two. Or a friend of mine has a game, Monochrome Heights, that's that way. But yeah, I love Guacamelee, everything about it. It's, it's very easy to beat. It's hard to 100%, but I force myself to 100% basically every Metroidvania I play if I can. So I did both of them, 1 and 2, but it's very difficult and a lot of fun. And then I have the super ultra tournament edition, or I think it's what it's called. And
Something
that one has like all the DLC, like just skins and stuff. And so can do some, it's just a great game. Guacamelee. 1 and 2, or just 1 if I have to pick one.
Yeah, I think the reason that's not on my like list, it's a little bit lower down on my no Castlevanias and Metroids list. Mm-hmm. But some of those like challenges where you have to do like switch between the worlds, and you have to do like 3 different attacks because like things don't work on certain enemies. Like,
yeah, I think that's the hardest challenges.
That gets frustratingly hard. Like,
yeah, but those are mostly optional though. Most of them are
mostly optional.
Yeah, and there's a couple of them that aren't. But yeah,
if they were all optional, top 10, no problem. But having to do those sometimes was like, all right, I mean, I did it, but I didn't have fun while I was doing it. And for some reason, that's what I remember from that game more than anything.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, yeah, totally.
I mean, great, though. I love those character designs. Lucha Libre, I'm like a wrestling guy.
Oh, yeah.
And like watching those Lucha Libre matches, like in the 8-sided octagon ring, is so freaking fun. I love that shit.
Yeah, it's awesome.
I've been hearing people tell me I should play them one day. I'm gonna have to.
It's good, and I played them both on Game Pass. Well, I played them both on Game Pass, but also I got Guacamelee 1, the Ultimate Edition, for free on the Wii U when the Wii U when Club Nintendo shut down. They just like multiplied everybody's points by 10. The original Club Nintendo, when it shut down.
Yeah,
they just multiplied everyone's points by 10, and so I had enough that I got Guacamelee for free and a few other games. So
on that great system.
Yeah, that is an awesome system for playing Metroidvanias. Actually, that's one of my favorite Metroidvania systems, because that gamepad is real good for it. But then I personally, I love the Wii U actually. All right,
Colby,
all right, we're at 8, right?
Yes.
Yep. Metroid Fusion.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, there's not much I'm going to say about most of these Metroid games because there's a lot of them on here, and they're all just like slightly worse versions of Super Metroid. some of them have things that are better. Like
Totally.
Fusion has, and when we get to it, I have no ability to be like critical of Super Metroid at all.
Yeah.
So
I get you.
I feel like these, like all of the, especially Game Boy Advance Metroids, are all just like off-brand versions of that, and that still makes it one of the best games I've ever played. I think Zero Mission is the weakest of them, but still a fan. Like, I mean, top 10 Metroidvanias puts it in my probably top 25 games of all time.
Okay. Yeah, see, in my Metroidvanias where you're only doing Metroids and Castlevanias, Zero Mission is like my number 8, and then the next Metroid down from that would be like Fusion number 11, but it's a close 11. Like I love Fusion. It's my least favorite 2D Metroid, and it still makes it one of my favorite games.
Yep.
I don't like Fusion at all because it's too difficult.
I don't like it because it's too linear. It's too linear is what I don't like about
hard.
It.
Yeah,
like, it has. It's probably the hardest Metroid game. That's other than the original.
I haven't played the original.
The original is the original is a whole different beast.
The original is hard because it's clunky, not because it's not. It's not hard on purpose.
Yeah, no.
Fusion is hard on purpose.
Fusion is hard on purpose, but it also does my favorite thing, which is my soul. Like, the reason I like the Souls games is because despite the fact that they're hard, you're still learning. And when we get to my number 3 game, I'll talk about this a little bit more, but they're not like, it's not like Cuphead. It's not like we have a lot of RNG on these bosses. You just have to learn how to do them. And when you learn how to do them, you can blow through them. Like I can.
Yeah, very much. Fusion is very much the Dark Souls of Metroid. That's for sure.
I can zero hit Metroid Fusion, or I could. I don't know if I still can. I probably can't. But like, once you learn those bosses, you know how to do them. And I love that in video games. That's like my top thing in video games.
Yeah. No, Fusion's great. It's almost made it just barely didn't make the cut on my list.
Yeah.
I remember being a good game. I just know that I had so much problems trying to play it and get through it, and even with save states, and so that's it. Yeah, it's not one I remember fondly.
Well, I'm a Dark Souls like fanatic, so I like hard games. So that isn't what I just don't like the linearity of it. I don't like
it is very linear.
You just keep getting shut off. You can't backtrack you can, but there's certain parts where you're stuck and you can't go back.
Yeah,
I'm not a fan of that.
That's my problem with 2 also. With Return of Samus and Samus Returns, the remake of it. They both have that same
didn't make
problem.
My list.
Yeah.
Both of them didn't make my list for that reason, though. I put Returns above Fusion on my other list, but
I forgot about that game. I like that game.
What, Returns?
Yeah, the remake.
The remake.
It made my all Metroid Castlevania list, but it didn't make my overall.
Oh wait, no, never mind. It's on my list. I just forgot it was on my list.
Oh,
I love that game. So yeah,
fun.
All right. Number 7. My number 7 is Castlevania Area of Sorrow.
Mine too.
Wow.
I haven't played it. I played it for the show, but I remember really, really enjoying it. It is the best of the GBA games, and I did use Souls that time. I didn't play like an idiot, and I just had a great time with that game. It just, for something with it, it just clicked for me, and it's a game that I still think of very fondly, and I want to play again. I mean, I bought the GBA collection. The Castlevanias on Steam because I'm like, one day I'm going to replay this, and it's just such a cool game, and the mystery of you don't know what the secret of your character is, and then having you're fighting a Belmont because you're fighting Julius off and on, like it's just such a good game.
It's awesome. It's everything Dawn of Sorrow that I was saying, but more simplified, harder, a little harder, but not too hard, shorter, and without the touchscreen bullshit. It's really. And on a backlit screen, it's perfect.
Played on
a system with a backlit screen, and to me it's almost perfect game. Yeah,
the souls are as overpowering because in Dawn of Sorrow, the amount of souls just overpowered me and made me play dumb.
Yeah, and there's basically like one less Is there one less category of souls in Aria? Is it? No, it's still 3.
It's been a long time.
It's still 3 categories. There's just less of them. Yeah.
Yeah, there's way less of them. It's probably. Two-thirds as many.
Aria of Sorrow is just it's an amazing game. Yeah.
Aria of Sorrow is actually like considerably higher on my list than
it's near the top of my Metroid Castlevania list. I just have a lot of non-Metroids and Castlevanias on my list, but on my Metroid and Castlevania only list, it's very high.
I'm glad you guys do.
I love Aria of Sorrow, and on my Castlevania list, it's number 2. So I mean, it's one of my I love Aria of Sorrow so much. Yeah. I think on the Dawn of Sorrow podcast, I started off saying I like Dawn of Sorrow more, and then ended it by saying I like Aria more. And on my Castlevania list, they're 2 and 3. So
yeah, Aria of Sorrow definitely my second favorite Castlevania game.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Same. It's so good. And so that was my number. That's my number 7 also. So we want to go straight to Colby then.
Yeah.
All right. My number 7 is Zero Mission. Is Metroid Zero Mission.
Nice.
It's a better version of 1, and then it has a really fun stealth section. I know a lot of people are torn on the stealth section.
I love the stealth section.
I like the stealth section. And then when you get your suit back, it's like, oh yes, this is what I want. I want Samus to have her suit back and just like fuck these dudes up who have been sneaking around. And
then you just massacre them.
Oh my God.
Great. I thought you said you put. I thought earlier you put this below Fusion. I was like, no.
Zero Mission is right above Fusion.
Yeah, because Zero Mission is like it took the original. If people don't know, it's just the original Metroid, but with a fresh coat of paint and a map and an extra.
A map is the important thing.
The map is so important, so important. I never played through the original Metroid without getting butt ass lost, even though it's a pretty short game.
Yeah,
but if you have a map, you can beat Zero Mission. You can beat the Metroid 1 part of Zero Mission in like 3 hours easily.
And they do have a ROM modded of the original Metroid that has a map on it.
Oh, good.
Oh,
yeah,
that's cool.
But
there's no purpose to that because just play Zero Mission and then you also get the kick-ass epilogue. It gave us the concept of Zero Suit Samus, by the way.
Yep. It rules. Zero Mission is great.
It's why she's called Zero Suit Samus, guys. It's not because she's wearing Zero Suit. It's because it's the suit she wears at the end of Zero Mission.
Yep.
And I have that amiibo too on the floor next to me.
I have it right next to me. I'm looking at it right now.
Oh, that's awesome.
It used to be on the shelf next to me, but somehow a paw knocks it down.
I 3D printed a pretty cool statue of Samus where like half of her suit has been blown off, and so she has like the Zero Suit under it. It looks pretty awesome.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of all the porny Zero Suit fan art.
Yeah.
No, but I do like the concept of Zero Suit. I think it's cool. I like how she still has like the little jump boots, and she has her little stun gun. Yeah.
Yeah.
Zero Mission's awesome. Get a cool Ridley fight at the end. Right. You refight Ridley in the epilogue, right? Am I remembering correctly? Yeah.
Fight Ridley everywhere.
Yes. Yeah. And the remakes of, because I replay the original Metroid on a fairly regular basis, and those boss fights are really lame. Like, they're all really bad. The Mother Brain fight is terrible.
Mm-hmm.
But they do a really good job of updating all of those boss fights in Zero Mission.
It's not just like a remaster; it's a full remake.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great.
It's great.
So that's my number 7.
All right, now go to my number 6, and it is Speak of the Devil, Metroid 2: Return of Samus for 3DS. Because I really love that game.
I think it's Samus Returns.
Is it? Let me.
Right? Isn't the original
Samus Returns is the 3DS one? Yes.
It's just called Samus Returns, and then the Game Boy one is Metroid 2: The Return of Samus.
Okay, so I had it wrong. But Metroid Samus Returns, I really love this 3DS.
Yeah, it's a great game.
I got a 3DS really late because I bought it off a guy. And I ended up picking that up for like cheap at some sale, Best Buy. And I was like, okay, and I put it on the show. And when I played through it, I actually beat that game legit. And that final shit was Ridley is tough as hell.
It is.
And I was so proud of myself.
But it's so cool because when you die in it, it just lets you go right back to the beginning of the fight.
Yeah, it does it right. It gives you that perfect. And I remember having the two amiibos next to me because the one would refill my weapons bar and the one would refill my health bar, 1 bar. I mean, it didn't help a whole lot, but it was enough to get me through that fight.
Those are some cool amiibos.
That's a big deal.
It is.
It's like a Varia Suit Samus and then a Metroid, right? A baby Metroid.
I didn't have those. I just had the Zero Suit Samus and
okay.
And the Zero Suit I think gave me the extra health tank. I can't remember, but I really enjoyed that game. I got most of the power ups. I didn't 100% it because I almost never do, but I had a great time.
That is a great game. That's another one that it's on my Metroids only, but not on my main list. But
yeah,
I love that game, and it's actually, you know how I'm famously, I have to 100% every Metroidvania. That's the first one I ever 100%ed. In fact, it might be the first game I ever 100%ed, other than, I don't know if you count getting all the endings in Chrono Trigger as 100%ing. But
I would, yes.
Yeah, okay. Well, then other than Chrono Trigger, it's the first game I ever 100%ed too. So.
I still haven't done that. I love that game.
Yeah. But no, it's fun. I did have to use a guide to get the last like 8%, but it has that cool thing that another game by that company does, where when you look at the map, each zone, it tells you what percentage you have on that zone, which is very useful for percentage hunters like myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was very friendly, and I liked that.
It is.
I had a great time with it.
It's great. I've never played more than maybe half an hour of Metroid 2 for the Game Boy, but Samus Returns, I 100%ed, and I love it.
I have never played the original Metroid for NES or the Game Boy one. And someday I got to do both of those for this podcast, because
I think they're both on Switch.
The Game Boy one is really easy if you're not in the Aria of Sorrow or the Dawn of Sorrow. If you play it right, it's really easy. It's really easy because of the limitations of the Game Boy.
Well, yeah,
like you can blow through Metroid 2, and you shouldn't have too many problems.
Okay. I'm probably I might do it next year, because I need to just wrap those up, because I don't really want to play the other Metroid games that are left on my list to play. So the Game Boy one is actually really, like, for a Game Boy game, it's really good and really fun, and it's easy and it looks great, and Metroid 1 will be the one that you are cursing, not I'm
2.
sure.
Play that patch ROM with the map, I guess. If you're
I might have to do that, because that seems like the right way to play it.
Yeah, it absolutely is, and I don't think that's I wouldn't call a map on a Metroid game cheating.
No, it's just, I don't know. They just hadn't thought about it because it was the first one.
And I don't think they could have put it in there anyway, because for an NES game, that thing is huge. It's huge, and it's varied, and
it was originally it premiered on the Famicom Disk System.
Yes,
it came out the same day the Famicom Disk System launched with Excite Bike and Metroid.
Yep.
Or like the two games on the same day it came out, if I recall correctly.
So to put a map on the NES cartridge
or on a floppy disk,
it would have it would have been impossible. It would have been a mess. But they can do it now.
Yeah, and they could have done it a year later is the thing. They could have, like, because Zelda had a map.
Oh yeah, they could have put that chip thing on.
Zelda came out on the Famicom Disk System like 6 months after Metroid, I think. So they could have. They just weren't quite there. They hadn't figured it out yet.
Yeah, and I don't think it sold well enough for them to like remaster it at that point.
A long time for us to get more.
Yeah. And that's been my problem with Nintendo for a long time. Like we get these shit, like, whatever. Zelda games are whatever. People love them. I don't think they're that great.
It's my favorite series, but
we get a lot of shitty, like, Mario Karts and like Mario parties. Like, stop it. Just make Metroid games. Jesus Christ.
And Kerry, what is your number 6?
Number 6. All right. So I combined two games that just blend together for me: Ori and the Blind Forest and Ori and the Will o' the Wisp. So again, kind of cheating here, but the bottom 4 games on my list would have ended up being Ori and the Blind Forest, Ori Will o' the Wisp, and Guacamelee 1 and 2 if I didn't do that. So yeah, I love Ori so much. It's I think after Walking Dead season 1, it's the first video game, I guess the second video game, that made me cry. Like, it's amazing, great environmental storytelling, but great, like, character without dialogue storytelling. There's just a tiny bit of narration, and otherwise it's just like people making the, like, kind of noises and barely even facial expressions. But it's just a beautiful, like, absolutely gorgeous game. It's inventive. It's new. Like, you don't attack exactly. Instead, you eventually you get like a passive, like, turret almost that kind of attacks, auto attacks around you. So it's way less about combat and way more about platforming and exploration and problem solving.
In 1.
Yeah, in 1. Right.
In two, you definitely get an attack pretty early in that game.
Right, that's true. Two is different, and of the two, 1 is definitely my favorite. But I think they're both great games, and I 100%ed both of them. I did 100% without guide on these two, which was so I really love these games. The platforming is so much fun, and it does a really cool thing of there are some places where you have like an auto scroller where if you don't go fast enough, you die. And if that happens, it just starts you immediately back at the beginning of it. No loading your save, no going back to a save point, anything like that. It has a really cool thing where you can basically just create a little save point wherever you're at.
That's nice.
You can just like lay down, like it's not exact. It's like a flash save, basically. I guess it's like you use some of you have energy, kind of mana that you use for stuff, and you can use some of that to just like lay down a little flash save, basically. But then there's also save points that refill all your health and all that kind of stuff. So it's got both. It has like really interesting platforming that just feels really natural, and it looks like it's like an oil painting, and just beautiful and sad. Where like one of the main villains of the game, you realize you're misunderstanding them, and then in the second game they're like your surrogate's like stepdad or stepmom or whatever. And it's cool, So yeah, it's awesome. And even like one of the other big villains, I think in the second game, you realize is like really you're just it's nature and you're just misunderstanding the situation, and everybody's misunderstanding each other. And I just love it. And it does all this without talking, without dialogue, just a little bit of narration, and that's it. It's an amazing game. And it's a good argument for the idea of like games as art too, because it's just so beautiful and. They're definitely beautiful. They're definitely fun games. I think maybe the sadness stuff is a little heavy-handed for myself. Yeah, I like because it's just like, especially in 2, it's like it just starts off and you're just depressed, and I'm like, the second one is brutal at the beginning. It is brutally sad. It's depressing at the beginning, but then it has a happy ending. It all resolves in a happy way for everybody. So but just when you're starting that one, make sure you're ready to just be sad, and there's no way around it. Really early in the first one, especially like if you have kids, like you're just going to be like gutted. Yeah, but it's tough. But just know that it all works out and everybody has a happy ending. But, so that's my number 6, Ori. All right, just the Ori series.
And Colby.
All right. My number 6 is my last non-Metroid or Castlevania, and it's the third one on my top 10 list. And it's The Mummy Demastered.
Ooh, yeah.
We talked about this on, I think, Shadow Complex.
Yes.
It's and I replayed it after that, and I'm like, this really holds up. For a video game based off of a crappy Tom Cruise movie.
I know.
Like, it has no references to that crappy movie except for like the main villain, but it's like strangely tough, but in that Souls way again. And it also does the Souls thing where when you die, you have to go back and get your stuff
from a zombie version of you.
Yes, from a zombie version of your last guy
that has all your shit, has all your guns and stuff.
Yep, and you have to fight him. And it's like so interesting, and like it's a really good game. It's nice and short. There's I think 5 biomes in it. It's not like a huge sprawling thing, but like everything that you do there is well done. Every time you get a new upgrade, every time you get a new gun, every time you get a new anything, it's like, oh, this changes everything. And it's just a really fun game. And I don't know why I got it. I probably got it on sale because somebody told me that it was good and I found it cheap. But yeah, there's no reason that I would have played this if it would have just been like, oh, here's a game based on this Tom Cruise movie that sucks.
I got it because of Retronauts. Jeremy Parrish interviewed the developers, the director. He interviewed the director of it, and that interview made me go, okay, I got to go buy this right now. It's really, really good. It's actually number 6 on my third party top 10 list over here. Okay. So yeah, I love the Mummy Demastered. It's really fun. I've never beaten it because the final boss is fucking ridiculous.
That's what
It's
I've
like
heard.
3 phases. Yeah, I think I talked about it on the Donisaro episode, actually.
It came up at some point. I know I've heard
or either that or the Shadow Complex episode. I bitched about it. It's really great game, but I've never beaten it because that final boss is so hard. And you have to do that whole boss run. Every time you die, you have to go back from the save room, cross 2 other rooms, kill your zombie self, and then fight that 3-phase boss again.
Yep.
I
love it. I love it.
It's an awesome game. It's so much fun.
Yeah, that's my jam. Bring on the pain. I'll do it.
Yeah, not for
me. It's another one that didn't make my overall, but it made my non-Metroid Castlevania one. So
okay. And that'll bring us to number 5. And my number 5 is Castlevania Portrait of Ruin. So I remember loving this game. I played it 6 years ago. I found out because on Facebook I posted a picture of me holding the case. So, but I just remember really enjoying the game. It's something that I have thought about, and I can't wait to re-experience it in a few more months. But I just remember having a great time. I played it and I beat it legit on a 3DS. It was one of the first 3DS games I bought. I think I went into a GameStop and just got lucky, and it was just there in a case with the case. And I'm like, oh, I'll buy that. And getting to switch between Jonathan and Charlotte, you get to fight Richter Belmont in it because it's him reversing the curse from the Belmonts, and it's just such a good game. And most of it is kind of linear because you do have you go in portraits that are the different worlds, and it has all the different zones. And I got a kick out of the game, and it's probably it is my second favorite Castlevania.
Wow.
So
yeah, that one didn't even make my top 10 Castlevania and Metroids.
I know.
I haven't played it yet. We discussed this on the Donisaro podcast. It's on my DS to-do list after Harmony of Dissonance.
On the schedule for you guys to join me.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And end of January. So
yeah. So I will be playing.
6 months away, but still.
So I'll let you know in a few months how I like it.
All right. And Kerry, what about you? Number 5.
Well, this will be quick. My number 5 is Bloodstained Ritual of the Night. So
nice.
We've discussed already. Love the game. We didn't say anything bad about it. I would say one thing about it that's not a big deal. The UI looks cheap as hell. It looks like it was programmed as a student project. That said, I don't care. The game is awesome. So it doesn't bother me.
And your little companion guy, the guy who's in the basement of your home base, is also very annoying. If we're nitpicking.
Which one are you talking about?
The blonde-haired guy with the glasses who makes your food.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yes.
That guy sucks.
Yeah, he's fine. It's whatever. It's funny because I played that game first, which you should, right? But then Curse of the Moon, which is a Castlevania 3 knockoff, basically.
Yeah, and a prequel.
It's a prequel to it, and it actually gives you a lot of the backstory of the characters. And I feel like if you played Curse of the Moon first, it would actually make Ritual of the Night story make a lot more sense. Or it would help at least. But I guess because Curse of the Moon did, I guess, come out first. It came out while they were still waiting for Ritual of the Night to come out, right? So it's a prequel-ish in that it was developed second, but it came out first. So I don't know if that's a prequel or not. But anyway, yeah, Ritual of the Night, awesome game.
Yep.
Okay.
Like Castlevania times. It's just heard you like Aria of Sorrow, so we put some Aria of Sorrow in your Aria of Sorrow.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And Colby.
My number 5 is Castlevania Order of Ecclesia.
Okay.
It's my
favorite.
One I haven't played either.
It's my favorite DS one. It has, I think, the best story, maybe of any Castlevania. You play as I'm trying to think of the word, but a witch who's sort of kicked out of her group.
Really?
Yeah, and it's very interesting. It still has a spell drawing thing, but it's implemented a lot better than the other DS ones. And I just think it's the coolest one. It looks amazing, the character design and everything, the level design and everything is just so good. And it's also, again, brutally hard. It's so hard.
That's what I've heard.
And that's again, you make if your video game makes me feel physical pain, I'm there for it. That's what I want out of my video games, and this one does that.
Okay.
I haven't played it, so I can say it's on my to-do list directly under Portrait of Ruin. So
yeah,
I'm probably gonna have to after because that's the only Igavania game I've never played. So
I probably
should one day.
So good. So good.
brings us to number 4. My number 4 is Metroid Zero Mission. It's my favorite Metroid game by far because it's easy, it's fast, and it's super cool. So I loved it. I played it through. I have recorded 3 podcasts about that game, twice on this show and then once for someone else's show. I just love that game. It's so good.
It's a great game.
It is all of those things, and it's also great.
Yes.
Yep.
I agree.
Totally.
All right. And Kerry, what is your number 4?
My number 4 is Super Metroid. my second favorite Metroid game and my 4th favorite Metroidvania. Yeah. I love Super Metroid. Like I said, have we already talked about Super Metroid?
We did, yes.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I love it. We didn't talk. No one. It wasn't on anyone's list though. We just talked.
It was
about
on mine,
right?
not my number 8.
Oh, it was your number 8. Oh, okay. Okay. Well, yeah. I mean, like I said, I love it. It's a great game. I play it a lot. I play randomizers of it. I play the Link to the Past Super Metroid combo randomizer, though I've never managed to beat that one yet. But still,
Understandable.
Yeah. So I love Super. I play Super Metroid multiple times a year, but it's a game that I never played for more than an hour at a stretch until like 7 or 8 years ago, and then I just it clicked, and I play it over and over and over again. Own it. I bought the Super Nintendo version. I bought the Super Nintendo Classic version. I've got it on the Switch. I played it on the Switch. Play it on my PSP, my Vita. Just love Super Metroid. All right, so that's my number 4.
Okay. And Colby.
My number 4 is Castlevania Aria of Sorrow, which we talked about.
Been on 2 of our lists now. All 3 lists.
Yeah.
Yep. I said on the Dawn of Sorrow podcast episode that we did that while I was playing Aria of Sorrow the last time that I played it, the thought crossed my mind, is this as good as Castlevania Symphony of the Night? Which is about as high of praise as I could think of. It's not, but it's damn close. I think Aria of Sorrow is like right where you want to be. I think take my personal preference of masochism out of it, and I think Aria of Sorrow is like right where you want to be. If somebody was to say, what if I want to start getting into Metroidvanias, what game should I play? I would point them at Aria of Sorrow. That would be the one that I would tell people to play to sort of get a baseline. Do you like these games? It would be Aria of Sorrow.
Yeah, totally. For at least for the Igavania side of things.
Yeah,
definitely. And it's the first one that no, it's not. I was going to say it's the first one he directed. The first one he directed was Circle of the Moon, but
I need to replay that.
Yeah, I think I need to play Circle of the Moon again too, because it's on. It might be 11. I don't know if it made my.
It's on my Metroids and Castlevanias only list, but it didn't make my top 10.
Played it on a phone and it wasn't good, but that I wasn't a touchscreen, so I got to play it again.
But yeah, Aria of Sorrow is a great game.
Okay.
Yeah,
and that brings us to number 3, and a game that I never thought I would play. It doesn't fit with the games that I love. Hollow Knight is my number 3.
Very nice.
This game was hard as hell, and I loved it. It came at the right time. It was a week where I wasn't super busy in my life and had a lot of downtime. Well, just in between things. And I just played this game nonstop for like 2 weeks, put like over 30 hours into it. And I was going to go for everything I could until I got to the White Palace, and the game just beat me down and said, "Fuck you, asshole." Then I beat the game normally and said, "Okay, we're done." I gave up. But it was such an experience to play through. And that game made me just want to maybe just want to slam my head against the wall a few times because there were some hard boss fights in that game. But
first time I ever played that game, I hit the first, not even boss, just a hard enemy and quit for a year. I was like, oh, this sucks. I was like 20 minutes in and I hated it. And then I came back to it.
I don't know how I did
about it later.
Like, I don't know how the hell I put so much time into that game.
Yeah, because no save states for you on that one either.
No, I beat that game straight up legit. And
you had to play it legit.
That was not fun at times. Manus boss was a hell. There were a few bosses. The Manus Lords gave me a lot of trouble. The Broken Vessel, I think, gave me. There were a few that really made me
Mantis Lords are the Ornstein and Smo of Hollow Knight. Yep. They're the skill check boss. It's like there's nothing, no amount of grinding you could have done.
No, not at that point.
Up to this point, you just have to be good at this game to get further than this.
And I did it. It probably took me over 20 tries. And also to the right of me, I have a Hollow Knight Perler art that my friend made for me after I beat the game.
I have a Hollow Knight Perler art that I made. I have a Hollow Knight and Hornet in my classroom, hanging up in my classroom. But I have a Hollow Knight 3D printed amiibo also over to my right.
I have the same experience with Hollow Knight every time I start it. I've started it 3 times and I've given up on it 3 times. There's like an arc in the beginning where I'm like, oh, this is like too much. It's like too much. I don't know what the hell is
you
wrong
like
with
getting
me
your
today.
ass beat, so I'm confused.
Yes, I do.
Yeah, I don't know,
It
because you like Dark Souls and you like GMMF.
It has nothing to do with how hard it is. It's just like so obtuse. Like everything is so obtuse, and then it gets into a groove where I'm like, oh, all right, I get it. Like I see what's going on. I'm going, and then there's a point where it's like, all right, this is too much of this. And then I go on to play something else just to break it up. And then when I go back, I don't have my Hollow Knight legs. So it's like, oh, this is no fun again. So then I just stop. But it happened every time that I started it.
Okay, it's too much game where you can't stop playing.
Yeah, it's too much to not stop playing. But then when you do stop playing, it just kills you. So I've never beaten Hollow Knight, and I don't care to. I don't think I'm ever going to start it again.
I get that. It
is hard. That's for sure.
I can't believe how high it is on my list and how much that game meant to me, because I do not like hard games. And people I totally get why people love it. It's just too much. And again, it has nothing to do with the difficulty. Like I don't mind banging my head against a boss or a hard enemy. It's just it's so obtuse. And it's everything. It's everything in that game is so it's so like difficult to wrap your head around what's going on. And it just, if it was shorter, I would probably like it. I would probably love it. But the fact that it takes that long to do everything, it's just out of my not comfort zone, but it's out of my enjoyment zone.
I don't think it's obtuse at all. I think there are a couple of maybe opaque side quests, but and it's definitely too long. But
yeah, that's for sure. And Kerry, what is your number 3?
My favorite Metroid game, Metroid Dread. So I love Metroid Dread. I thought there's no way I could ever like a Metroid game more than Super Metroid, and then Metroid Dread came along, and it's basically like they just made it's sacrilege to say they made a better Super Metroid, but I think they did. I love Metroid Dread so much.
I forgot Dread existed, or it would have been on my list.
I've 100%ed it twice, and without guides either time. Though I did have to look up how to do 1 or 2 of the Shine Spark puzzles, because some of those Shine Spark puzzles are fucking ridiculous. But then when you pull them off, you feel like the most ultimate badass gamer that ever lived. The boss fights are just hard enough to be super fun, but not hard enough to be frustrating or defeatist. It has good story. Samus speaks, but she doesn't say some stupid little like anime girl bullshit. She speaks bird person language, which I love hearing her speak some bird person. And I love it. And
also when like towards the end of the game, spoiler, towards the end of the game, she's speaking to Adam in the form of like an AI. And there's a point where he's just like, you can't, like, he's sort of beating her down the whole game.
Yes, he's been telling her, you're not strong enough.
You're not good enough. You're not going to be able to do this
all game.
And at one point, she just smashes that console and just like, fuck you, Adam. And I'm like,
fuck you, I'll do it myself, bitch. I love it. It is so good. And the design, man, I'm sitting here with I've got the Metroid Dread amiibo set. The Emmys are amazing. The Emmy is like one of my favorite enemies in a video game. I love the Emmy fights. The last time I played this for this podcast, I got it to where I could like reliably, like 9 times out of 10, parry the Emmy. Which makes you just feel like ultimate badass. I had one thing where an Emmy caught me 8 times and I parried it 8 times. And I was like, that's it. Yeah, the Emmy ought to just quit at this point. But I've got the amiibo. I love the Dread suit. The Dreadvaria suit is one of my favorite designs in the series of all the different suits. It's probably like my 2nd or 3rd favorite suit Samus has ever had. Probably my 2nd favorite after the gravity suit from Prime. But the Dreadvaria suit looks awesome. I think I painted it or something. I'm trying to remember, but I painted a statue of it. I think I don't remember. I painted something of it. No, I made a Gundam of it. That's what it was. I fucking bought a Gundam and painted it to look like in the color scheme of the Dreadvaria suit, and it looks badass. I'll put a picture in the Discord when I get a chance. Nice. It's right up there. It's actually standing on my computer right there. I've got a Chozo statue holding a stylus next to, in front of that's the Emmy. In front of that is the Dread amiibo. Behind that is a Smash Brothers Samus amiibo 3D printed one, and then behind that is my Dread Varia suit Gundam that I made all together. So yeah, I know I love Dread. I could talk about Dread all night. In fact, I have talked about Dread all night on this podcast.
Yes.
So check it out. So that's my number 3.
My number 3, also Metroid Dread.
Boom, love it.
Spectacular. One of the best. And it, when I was talking about the boss fights, the last boss fight in Metroid Dread is one of the best examples of boss fights that are really hard until you learn them, and then you can do them, and it makes you feel like the best game player that's ever played a game.
It does. It does.
It's so good. The level design, just what the game looks like, what they do for Samus, like I said, makes her a badass. You know, Adam's talking shit the whole time, and she just like smashes that console with Adam at the end. And I was like, it was one of my favorite video game moments of all time when she smashes that Adam console. I was like, yes, fuck you, yes. Adam. Yeah. The game absolutely rules. Yeah, my second favorite Metroid game of all time.
Okay, now bring us to number 2. This might surprise you guys that this is my number 2, but Castlevania Symphony of the Night.
Also my number 2.
One of the best games ever made, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's my third favorite. It's my third favorite video game.
It's
not Metroidvania, my third favorite video game.
Love it.
So yes.
I actually didn't play it until Xbox Live. That was the first time I played this game.
Wow.
And I loved it. I played it now, like, beaten it probably 3 or 4 times. The last time I played it was for this podcast, episode 101. I got the Christogen to drop on my first try, and that was the end of the game then. I was like, oh, this game is... It goes from, like, oh, this is, like, there's challenge is gone. It's just now press X to win.
Yeah, that it was the first... I have this game on so many platforms. Mm-hmm. Phone... Xbox Live. I have the original PlayStation disc. Pretty much any time it came out, the PSP, yep. the Rondo of PS4. Blood, the PS4 thing that came out. Yeah, I'll buy it every time. But it was the first game that I ever got 100% of the achievements on Xbox.
Oh, nice. Never played it on Xbox.
It's Castlevania Symphony of the Night with a button that you can press to make it look like Castlevania of the Night or a slightly improved Castlevania of the Night or a Symphony of the Night. Yeah, but it's great. It's so great.
It's such a perfect game.
Yeah.
It's not my number 1.
Not my number 1 either, but
okay.
darn
no
close.
Comment.
I know your number 1, Colby, is not a Hollow Knight now, so I do know that for sure.
No, it's certainly not.
What about you, Kerry? What is your number 2?
Hollow Knight. Hollow Knight's my number 2. Yeah, it's my number 5 video game and my number 2 Metroidvania. I love Hollow Knight so much. We were talking about it earlier, so I'm not going to talk too much. But I was just going to say, like, that game is a game where, yeah, I got it shortly after it came out, bounced off it real fast and hard, came back a year later and got, like, the game of the... I upgraded, bought the DLC and stuff for it. I think after maybe I played it for a bit. I eventually 116%ed it, gave up at 116%. So the last 20% is beating these optional bosses in heaven, basically. Mm-hmm. And I had 2 bosses left, and I gave up on the next to last boss. I was like, all right, no, you know what? 116% is good enough. I've gone back and played it a bunch more. I got my son playing it. He loves it. I went back and played it again recently, and I did the mistake. I put it down at around 90%. So I'm going to be lost if I ever come back. Probably just start over again.
I love like Dark Souls. You can't put. At least I can't.
I can put down Dark Souls, but I hear you. It borrows some stuff from Dark Souls, and it's specifically when you die, it drops your stuff, and you have to go pick it back up. But it's like more like, I'd say it's kind of like Bloodborne in that you have to go hit something to get it back, right?
Yeah.
But it's not hard. Like it's the same thing. You got like a floating specter of yourself you've got to hit. But it's not hard. You just have to hit it a couple of times. Bam. You can even use that to sequence break, which is awesome. You can use your little specter and go jump off of his head to get up to high places before you get the double jump or whatever. So yeah, it's an almost perfect game to me. If I had any complaint about it, I actually have only one complaint. Is the only thing I don't like about it. Two things. Number one is it is maybe a little too long, and then number two, I don't like with the relics, the charms. I don't like that to see where you're at on the map. You have to take up a charm slot for that.
Agreed.
I wish that you could just see where you're at. That is a minor quibble, but it's very annoying. Similarly, the one where Geo like vacuums up to you as you run over it. It would make the game a little more fun if those were just automatic rather than have to devote 2 relic slots to those things. But not a major problem for such a great game. And I guess it is a little hard to figure out how to get the Grim Troop to show up. I definitely had to look it up. I'm not sure how you would figure that out on your own, honestly.
I don't even remember what to do. I didn't mess with them.
You have to meet their accordion player up in like the mountains after you've already been to that part. So you would have to be backtracking in the first place to find him. It's fine. Like I said, it's my number 2 for a reason. It's number 5 on just my top video games list that I made. So yeah, I love it. Hollow Knight.
And Colby, what is your number 2?
We already talked about it. Symphony of the Night.
Okay.
Same as yours.
All right. And then you guys have any, well, I guess we'll just do honorable mention everything at the end after we finish. And then I'll do my number 1. We talked about it earlier, but I didn't on purpose. Bloodstained Ritual of the Night. I love this game more than Symphony of the Night.
Wow.
I know. I don't understand it.
I think that's legitimate because it's just Symphony of the Night plus Aria of Sorrow plus more. So I get that.
I fell in love with it. I actually got it as a birthday present from my buddy Mike Hughes, who used to be on this podcast quite often. He bought it for me randomly. He's like, "Here you go," and I'm like, "Oh, cool." And I started to play it, and then I didn't really get into it. And then I put it on the podcast like a year later. I'm like, "I need to play this," and I fell in love with the game. I almost 100% of the game. Like I just did everything I could. I beat every boss but one, I think. Or no, I might even beat every boss that was in that's in the game. Like I love that game so much, and the food, the crafting, just everything. It grabbed me in a way that I didn't expect, and it was a game where I woke up one time that couldn't sleep, and I had to go and beat a boss because I just couldn't stop thinking about the game, and that's not like me.
Yeah. It's really good. It's number 5 on my list because I think it's got a little too much in it. It can be a little bloated.
It is long.
It's like too many items. The crafting can get a little much, but it's still amazing.
The cooking and the crafting is what knocks it down for me too. Like there's too much like non-video game stuff that I hate in video games, but like the game itself is so good. But like if you have crafting in your game, I automatically like it less.
And see, I like all that stuff. I feel like it's too many things. I like crafting in other games. I like the crafting in that game. It's just maybe it's a little too much for it to be on my number 1, and it's not streamlined enough for me. But it's still a great game. It's a good pick.
No, it's fantastic.
It was my number 5. So yeah. It's my number 2 on my non-Metroid Castlevania list, actually, behind Hollow Knight. So
it's number 2 on mine too.
Yeah.
And Kerry, what is your number 1?
My number 1 is Castlevania Symphony of the Night, which is my 3rd favorite video game after Breath of the Wild and Elden Ring. So yeah, I love Castlevania. Like I didn't talk about it as much as you talked about it because I wanted to mention that is a game I came too late. I got a PSP. I bought a PSP from Japan in 2017, and the first game I bought for it was Castlevania Dracula X Chronicles. Played through Rondo of Blood and unlocked Symphony of the Night. And also the original Dracula X or Rondo of Blood. And then I played through Symphony of the Night on the PSP. So that's the first way I played through it. 187% of it.
Oh, wow.
Without a guide or anything. And then I have gone back. I've since played through and beaten the game, including randomizers, probably at least 10 times. I'll do a randomizer of it. I don't always finish my randomizers. I usually will start them and I'll kind of eventually move on to something else before I quite finish it. But I do a randomizer of Symphony of the Night probably every couple of months. I just sit down and make another randomizer and run through it for a few hours. It's the first game when I started my Twitch. That was the game I played through on my Twitch. I played through actually a randomizer of it and beat it on my Twitch. That was the first thing I did on Twitch, I think. Yeah. I think it was a randomizer. It might have been the original. But yeah, it's such a great game. Yeah, I don't have much more to say that we didn't already say. It's just
Symphony of the Night is in my top 5 video games of all time as well.
Yeah,
it's probably 5, but it's up there. It's so good.
And the reason I put it above Ritual or Aria of Sorrow or Dawn of Sorrow is those games have everything Symphony of the Night has, plus a bunch more stuff. But Symphony of the Night just has the right amount. It's just like it's a kind of just a perfect. It's an almost, to me, perfect game. Like, there's not a single fight in it that's too hard. It's like, it's never hard enough to be frustrating.
Yep.
But it's still hard enough to give you a challenge. Maybe it might be a little too easy, maybe, but I don't know. I don't think it is. It has beautiful music, beautiful sprite art. That just like, it's like that perfect time where we were, just coming out of the 16-bit era. And everyone was wanting, everyone was looking at the PlayStation as we got to push those polygons. And Konami said, no, we're going to use the PlayStation to make just beautiful sprite art.
Yep.
Beautiful sprite art in a long game with like RPGs and so much secret stuff in it that the game doesn't tell you, that you can that you can cast every spell in the game. You can cast from the beginning if you know them ahead of time, which makes, playing through it another, after you've beaten the game, a lot of fun because or if you play with a guide. Including Richter at the beginning when you're playing as Richter has a full, he has like 7 special moves that he can do that are just, they're mostly fighting game combinations.
Yeah.
And then, there's so much stuff like how many seconds it takes you to kill Dracula, but also how much damage you take or don't take, but also how many hearts you have left at the end of it, change your starting stats and equipment. And so there's I think there's 7 or 6 different configurations you can get to kind of, create a build. There's, a hard luck build where you just get the Alucard set and become, there's, special secret things like, using a shield rod and, and a certain shield and does certain, breaks the game actually. It's the way I beat the game the first time was I just beat Dracula in 7 seconds with that the first time. Never have done that again. Randomizer is so much fun. It's so much fun to be playing a randomizer. And I did a randomizer once where I was an hour before I got a weapon to drop. So I was just punching everything. And the first weapon to drop was a fucking Chrysogrim. and then it was all right, easy mode now. I can blow through this game. You get Chrysogrim and it just becomes a platforming game at that point. Mm-hmm. There's no combat to worry about. You're just death.
Besides Galamoth, nothing will matter.
Right. And is Galamoth the one that does all the lightning damage?
Yes.
Yeah, and with him, you just get the barrel circlet, and he heals you with his lightning damage. So, boom, again. And just so much fun stuff that how would you ever know, go into the tunnel from the right side as a wolf, and then exit as a bat, and that opens the tunnel on the bottom left that you can't even tell is a tunnel. Things, secrets like that I don't know how anyone ever figured them out. That. Yeah, that's how you get the barrel circlet. Barrel circlet is behind that. I've never gotten
the barrel circlet then.
Well, there you go. And the barrel circlet heals you from lightning damage, which then makes Galamoth the joke. Not really a joke because he still does a ton of physical damage too, but just so much fun stuff. And yeah, and then the inverting, it invented. I mean, did they invent this? You get the ending and it's actually not the real ending at all, and now you got to figure out what you did wrong. And there's a whole second game to do now for the real ending. So. Yeah, and so that's why I say, I've never gotten better. I think 192% is the most I've ever managed to do. I know the only way to get 200% is you have to glitch through some walls with Sword Brothers, which I've never.
200.6% is
200.6 is the max. Yeah, and I've never done that. I think 192 is where I've capped it. 180. I typically always do 187. 187 is what you do without any glitches.
Yeah.
So I've never done any of the glitches, but
200.6, not worth it. It's a lot of hassle for very little reward. The only reason I did it was for the achievement on Xbox.
Yeah, that's again. I pretty much every time I beat it, I do 187%. One time I got the 182 by trying to do a little bit of glitching, and I was like, this isn't worth it. But it's a lot of fun. So many fun things. I could talk about it all night, but I won't. But yeah, Castlevania Symphony of the Night, my number 1 Metroidvania, my number 2, my number 3 video game. So
okay,
there we go.
And what about you, Colby? Your number 1.
My number 1 should come as no surprise. It is Super Metroid.
Yep.
I have no objectivity towards this game. When I was a kid, my favorite Nintendo game was Metroid. And then I didn't have a Game Boy until later, so I didn't play 2. So my next step was Super Metroid, and it blew my fucking mind. It's so again, I have no objectivity towards this game. I have beaten it probably 70 times.
Damn.
It's one of those things. It's probably the game that made me like the types of games that I like. Like, if you ask me what my game, like, if I want to play a game, I want to play a game where I am alone in an alien world where everything is trying to kill me. That's why I like Souls. That's why I think Returnal is so good. That's why, you know, every game that I play is like, if there's like co-op or whatever, I'm like, I don't really want to do this. I want to be alone in this horrible place where everything is trying to kill me. The Shine Sparks, the Shine stuff is whatever at this point. Like, I know that I had a problem with it when I was a kid, but I've done it so many times at this point now. It's like, yeah, you run and then you duck and you jump. Like, what's people are like, oh, the Shine Spark stuff is so hard, and I'm like, what? Like, why? You run and then you duck and you jump. Like, it's not that hard. But again, it's because I've done it so many times that it, you know, I'm sure it's a problem. But as far as I'm concerned, that game has no flaws. It is my number 2 game of all time, behind Bloodborne.
Oh, God, I need to cover
Nice.
that. I don't want to replay it ever.
I love Bloodborne.
I replay Bloodborne like literally all the time. Like, if I'm like, I don't know what I want to play. Oh, I guess I'm just going to hop into Bloodborne for a little bit.
Yeah,
See, I can't.
Bloodborne's my like least favorite Souls game, which makes it one of my favorite video games. So I still love it. I'll definitely play it for the show.
My least favorite Souls game is Dark Souls 1.
Oh, well, yeah, that makes sense. That's one of my favorites. Just I play it a lot, but yeah, Super Metroid. I kind of agree. I don't think there's any. I don't know what you could say negative about Super Metroid. I like Metroid Dread more. I like Metroid Dread more because it's just like Super Metroid, but then other stuff too.
Yes,
but Super Metroid's awesome.
Metroid Dread would have been on my list had I remembered it existed at the time I made this list.
Metroid Dread does do a lot of like quality of life improvements, so I totally get people liking it better. But like I said, no objectivity. Like, Super Metroid is perfect in my eyes, and you can't convince me otherwise. The sprite work, like, there are some games from that era where I'm like, where I'll like play it and look at it, like Earthworm Jim is the same sort of way. It's like, so I can see that games can look and play like this. So why don't all games look and play like this? Like, the sprite work, the environments, the platforming is all so good that it's like, why are we playing these shitty 16-bit games? There's no reason for it. Like, they can make them good.
It's so good. Yeah.
All right. I have 2 honorable mentions just because I forgot they existed when I was making my list. So if you guys, and then we go on to the other list that you guys have. For mine 2, Dust in a Legion Tale. I played it once on Xbox Live, and I remember loving it, but I haven't played it since. I don't know where I didn't. It's been too long, so I couldn't really. I didn't want to rate it.
Dust is great.
Okay, and Metroid Dread, I forgot it existed for some reason. I don't know how, to be honest, but I completely forgot it. I love Metroid Dread when I played it. So yeah, that's my honorable stuff. And Kerry, did you have a different list too?
Yeah, maybe rather I'll just say some of the other games that I didn't talk about that are on my other list. Axiom Verge is awesome. I love Axiom Verge. It definitely feels like the first one. It looks very rough. It looks like a fan game, but it's got a lot of depth to it. It's got a lot of like Metroid. Mechanically, it's very Metroid at first, but then you start getting you get a lot more power-ups, a lot more different abilities and stuff. You get like a glitch weapon that actually just like causes the game to glitch, like to get you through different areas. It causes like the level geometry to glitch out. Okay. Axiom Verge is great. And then Axiom Verge 2 is like, they made one that's more MetroidVania than Metroid, but it's still, and it's a lot of fun too. I haven't beaten that one. I beat Axiom Verge, 100% of Axiom Verge. Haven't beaten Axiom Verge 2. I was enjoying it and I put it down and just didn't come back to it. So I need to get back to it. That's a great game.
2 has a very interesting end.
I've heard, I don't know exactly what, but I've heard that it has an interesting ending. But Colby, you have we can kind of ping pong back. I've got several, but
Okay. Well, I just have one honorable mention, and then I was going to bang out my other two lists.
All right. What's your honorable mention?
My honorable mention is Control. The only reason it's not on here is because I was like, I don't know about putting a 3D game in here, but Control is probably my number 3 game of all time, 3 or 4. It's, it is up there. And every time I play it, I like it more. So yeah, Control.
I really need to play it. I bought it on the Epic Game Store and then got it for free on PS Plus. Mm-hmm. And I'd rather play it on PS5 just because PS5 is a lot more powerful than my PC.
Yeah,
and I've heard that it looks really good on it too.
The PS Plus version is like the Ultimate Edition.
Oh, so that's right.
It has the graphical upgrades and all the DLC. The DLC,
that's cool.
Not as good as the base game, but it's more Control. So any more Control that you can play. I have the Platinum on the Ultimate Edition. The only reason I don't have the Platinum on regular Control is because none of the bureau alerts ever popped in my original game. So I have 2 trophies that I don't have just because I never got a bureau alert in my original game. And when I went back.
Is Control based on, what is the internet?
The SCP?
Yeah,
the
SCP Foundation?
Yeah.
It's actually based on an SCP Foundation story, right?
Yeah,
that's awesome. I love that.
Yeah, there's like rubber ducks and like refrigerators, and like at one point there's a sound that plays that's one of these objects of power, and it's just in a room and the sound is playing and it's soundproof, but if you go in, it does it. It's amazing. Everything in that game.
For people that aren't aware, SCP Foundation is kind of like a crowdsourced internet X-Files creepypasta kind of thing.
Yeah. Okay.
But it's been big enough that they've made books of it, like actual books you can buy that are anthologies of it. And yeah, I think there's been a couple of movies based on some of them, and then Control is based on it. So well, okay, I'll just name a couple. I'll just list off a couple. So Record of Lodoss War, D-Lit and Wonder Labyrinth is a really great one. It's very Symphony of the Night style. It's an MetroidVania. It's very short. You can beat it in about 4 hours, I'd say. If you like the Record of Lodoss War OVAs from the 90s, it's awesome. It's continuing that story. I'm only I was aware of them in that I had some AMVs of them from it, and I liked the art style and stuff, but I never really watched the OVA, so I didn't know enough to really get anything out of the story with it. It has the cool shifting color thing I mentioned with Guacamelee, so that's a lot of fun. A lot of spell casting stuff in it, a lot of gear, so it's a lot of fun. And then Ender Lily's Quietus of the Nights is another one. It does this chibi Lolita baby doll aesthetic that is fucking repellent to me. But if you get over that, it's a really fun Metroidvania with a lot of Dark Souls combat style to it and elements to it. The story is actually really good. I like the story of it a lot. It's very challenging, but doable. It's not very challenging. It's hard. I'd say it's like Metroid Fusion difficulty.
Okay.
Similarly, at least at the end, it kind of ramps up as you get the final couple of areas are really hard, especially the boss. But still, I beat it. I 100%ed it without too much problem. It's got a lot of build variety. It's a big thing in it because you're this little girl, you're just this defenseless little girl that as your character you jump around as, but you are a soul keeper, and so you are basically you're finding all of these knights who died in this war. Everyone's died basically, and you're finding them and you're kind of rescuing their souls from damnation. And then their souls then become equipped to you, and you can have 3. So you're equipping souls, but then that becomes how you attack. You don't have a sword. You're just a little girl standing there. So you have the first soul you get in the little starting area is a knight with a sword. And so when you attack, he this little spectral skeleton knight swings the sword. And so on. And then, double jump, you get a soul that has wings unless you, flutter. So it's a little
cool.
fun. It's a lot one. And then Arkham Asylum is, 3D Metroidvania, but I'd say, it counts as much as Metroid Prime. It's a great game. I personally prefer Arkham City because I like open world games a lot. I like the open world. For Batman, I want to be in an open world more. But Arkham Asylum's a great game. Definitely Metroidvania with all the stuff that goes with that. And then last two more I'd mention real fast. Monster Sanctuary is Metroidvania, but with Pokemon elements. So it's basically like a Pokemon Metroidvania with turn-based combat, turn-based Pokemon style combat. But you're capturing animals, training them, leveling them up, and then all of the combat is turn-based RPG combat. But then it's the platforming, the exploration, movement-based ability gaining, all that stuff. And then my last one is Time Spinner, which is just a great, very straightforward Metroidvania with a similar to how Guacamelee has the Land of the Living, Land of the Dead. This has 2 different time frames you're jumping between. So only you don't do them on the fly. You do them at like special area, but you're basically going back and forward in time over and over and over again throughout the game. And so it's kind of like I guess another way to put it is like the inverted castle of Symphony of the Night. If there were more places to teleport between it than the one, and if it, instead of being inverted, it was just in the past, or the future, I think. Actually, I think you start in the past and go to the future. I can't remember which way you go, but it's a great one too. But that's it.
All right. And Colby, do you have a few things to mention still?
Yes. You came here for top 10 lists. I'm going to give you 2 more top 10 lists really, really quick because I have to leave in like 10 minutes. My top 10, no Metroid and no Castlevania Metroidvanias. 10, Axiom Verge. 9, Yoku's Island Express, which is like a pinball
Metroidvania. Yeah,
it rules.
It is.
Number
awesome.
8, Insanely Twisted Shadow Planet, where you're a little like spaceship. Number 7, Guacamelee. Number 6 might not be a Metroidvania, but I see it on Metroidvania lists, and it's V.
Oh yeah. That's a good one.
Amazing game. Number 5, Momodora Reverie Under the Moonlight, which reminded me of a side-scrolling Bloodborne type 16-bit Metroidvania. Ooh. It's great. Taoho Lunar Nights.
Yes.
And then Carrion, number 3, Bloodstained Ritual of the Night, number 2, Mummy Demastered, number 1. And then my Metroids and Castlevanias. Number 10, Samus Returns. Number 2, Metroid Prime, or number 9, Metroid Prime 2. 8, Castlevania Dawn of Sorrow. 7, Order of Ecclesia. 6, Fusion. 5, Zero Mission. 4, Aria of Sorrow. 3, Dread. 2, Symphony of the Night. 1, Super Metroid.
Nice. Your 1 through 4 on that is my 1 through 4, but in a different order on the same list. Yeah. Nice. I'll refrain from doing my other top 10s just for time's sake, but they're very similar to yours. But I want to see, like, if you can send me that. What was that number 3 or 4 on your non-Metroids? It's like a
Momodora Reverie Under the Moonlight or some such.
Momodora. I'm gonna have to check that out.
Momodora. I think it's on PlayStation Plus Extra right now.
It's also on Steam. I can tell you that. I have it on Steam.
It's hard. It's a hard one.
I'm sure.
And you play as like a nun, and you have a leaf for your weapon. It's crazy.
Okay.
Momodora Reverie Under the Moonlight. All right.
And one of the bosses is a giant lady that you defeat by hitting her boobs a lot.
All right, and I am downloading that to my PS5 as we mentioned, as we speak. Download queued. All right, awesome.
It's great.
And then what was Taoho? I need to remember that one. I had that one on. I think that's on Game Pass.
Yeah, it's on one of the services. That one it's very interesting. That one's like hard in the way that Guacamelee is hard. Like it has hard platforming challenges that you have to do. But I really enjoyed that one.
Yeah, and it's part of like a long running series, but it's the first one that's a Metroidvania.
Yeah, I think so.
Right, and I think we should wrap this up. I know Colby's got to run, and I have to run. Colby, where can you find you at?
You can find me on Instagram at Jack Billings Presents, and on TikTok at Jack Billings Presents. And the podcasts are Jack Billings Presents Haunted Apartment Complex, which is a scripted comedy podcast, and then This Bizarre Adventure, which is a JoJo watch podcast. I'm watching it for the first time. My co-host B is a super fan, and we're just 2 unhinged leftists talking about how terrible everything is and also JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. which I think a lot of JoJo fans can relate to this stuff that we're talking about. So I would definitely recommend going to check that show out.
All right. And Kerry, where can people find you at?
Hey, I'm Kerooseta, Kerooscta. I'm on Twitch, YouTube, Discord, Instagram. That's it. No, not on X. But deleted that shit. Yeah, I stream video games mostly. I also repair and modify video game consoles when my workshop is not 115 degrees, which should be, October. So I'll be getting back to that. I've got some mods sitting on the table. Hopefully they haven't melted. But yeah, usually just hit stream on whatever I'm playing on my PS5 most of the time. So don't talk a whole lot on there, but come. I'll talk to you if you come talk to me. That's it.
Right. And if you enjoyed this episode, there's over 500 other episodes of this podcast. You can find everything we done on Podbean. Just type in search, because on Spotify, everything else, it gets rid of some more episodes. So you can find everything on Podbean that we do. We do movies, comics, TV shows, top 10s once in a great while. Do all sorts of things. Just go through our giant catalog and see what you think. You never know. You might find something that you didn't even realize we did, because that happened. And I want to give a shout out to my awesome intro and outro courtesy of Helena at Hellhastry. You can follow her on TikTok. If you want to support the show, we do a Patreon for a little dollar. You can vote in our Patreon poll. We have one every month. You can help affect how the show goes, so definitely go check that out. We have a Discord. You see the links in the show notes. Please join our Discord. And also want to shout out to my buddy Bill Tucker, who started his own podcast, The Gamer Looks at 40. Definitely go check out his show too. And please follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Threads, and on YouTube. Audio only, but follow us on YouTube. I think that's everything I need to say. So we will see you guys all next time. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.